Hi, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to discuss general purpose input-output registers with the example. So we can move to this discussion. GPIO is a pin on microcontroller. It can act as either input pin or output pin. Input pin is used to take signal or data from outside external devices, and output pin is used to send signal or data to the outside devices attached to the processor. A group of these pins is called as port. For example, in LPC2148, we have two ports, port 0 and port 1. For port 0, we have 32 pins. Which acts as general purpose I/O ports. So it is mentioned in the last point, that is LPC2148 has two 32-bit GPIO ports, port 0 and port 1. In port 0, we have 32 pins. 28 pins can be configured as either input pin or output pin. These 28 pins we can show it here as P0.0 to P0.223. That is port 0, 0th pin to port 0, 23rd pin. So you have 24 pins, and port 0.25, one more pin, and port 0.28 and port 0.30, 3 pins. So in this slide it is 0 dot here, P0.28 and P0.30. So totally we have 24 plus 1 plus 3, 25 plus 3, 28 pins. So these 28 pins can be configured, as mentioned, can be configured either input or output port. The pin number port 0.31, the 31st pin, can be configured only as output. Only as output. So now 28 plus 1, 29 pins can be configured either input or output. That is last one, 31st pin is only output. It can't be configured as input. And see, now out of 32, 29 pins we have discussed. Remaining pin is 3. 3 pins are remaining. So that is port 0.24th pin, port 0.26th pin, and port 0.27th pin. These 3 pins are not for user purpose. It is reserved. So user can't use these 3 pins. So for port 0, we have 29 pins. And port 1, it is also a 32-bit port wherein the instructions are 32-bit. So out of 32, only 16 pins can be used in port 1 as GPIO. Okay, the pin numbers starts from P1 represents port 1. Pin number is 16 to 31. So 16 pins can be used as general purpose IO for port 1. So totally 45 pins. General purpose IO pins, 45 pins. Okay, so in the last video previous video, I told that the ARM processor LP2148 consists of 64 pins, right? And each pin has primary function as well as secondary function also. Maximum, each pin has 4 functions. Maximum at the most. Minimum 2, maximum 4. Except VCC and ground. So each pin has primary function and also secondary 1 function, secondary 2 functions, secondary 3 functions. So 4 functions are available for each pin. Default function is primary function, and the secondary function, if you want to choose, you have to use pin function select registers. So in this fourth point, you see the pin number 1 is labeled pin number 1 as pin number 1 is having 4 functionalities. First one is default GPIO function. Next one is secondary function 1, PWM generation. Secondary function 2, analog to digital conversion. And secondary function 3rd, timer capture. So if you want to select secondary functions pin for generation of either PWM or A to D conversion or time capture pin, you have to use this pin select register for operation. So primary for operation or function, primary function or secondary function. So this pin function select register is used. So it is discussed, and the picture here also already we discussed. Now see here, pin select function register is a 32-bit registers. See here, it can be configured as follows. For this function, pin select 1, pin select 2. Port 0 pins from 0 to 15 is allocated for pin select 0 register. Port 0 pin number 16 to 31 is allocated for pin select 1 register, and port 1 16th pin to 31st pin is allotted to pin select 2 register. Suppose in my program, if I want to use 17th pin of port 0, then I have to choose register pin select 1. If I want to use 4th pin of port 0, then I have to select pin select 0. If I want to use port 1, 27th pin means I have to go for pin select 2 register. By default, all pins are configured as GPIOs. If you want to use a secondary function, then you have to go choose pin select registers. Now see here, already we studied about pin select register. Now there are 4 other registers which can control this GPIO operations. What are the pins? IO pin, IO direction, IO set, IO clear. Here IO represents input out. Right. We will see in the next slide. That's all about in this video. We will see in the next video. Thank you.